He was born Nguyen Sinh Cung, a name he would shed like a skin. But the soul of the man who would become Ho Chi Minh was forged in the crucible of a nation's suffering. Under the yoke of French colonialism, he witnessed the daily injustices and the quiet anguish etched onto the faces of his countrymen. This was the world that greeted his youth, a landscape of hardship and suppressed dreams. The sight ignited a fire within him, a resolve that would define his entire existence. One fateful day, standing on the deck of a ship, the salt spray on his face, he gazed out at the endless horizon. He wasn't just leaving a place, he was embarking on a quest. With his homeland receding behind him, he carried its hopes into the vast, unknown world, determined to find the key to its salvation. The journey ahead was uncertain, but the mission was crystal clear: to learn, to grow, and to one day return with the tools to build a new, free Vietnam. His odyssey took him across continents, a solitary figure moving through the bustling arteries of the West. In London, he toiled as a pastry chef, his hands, which would one day shape a nation, now shaping delicate confections. In Paris, the vibrant heart of European culture, he worked as a photo retoucher, sharpening images while his own political vision came into focus. It was here, amidst the city's cafes and salons, that he immersed himself in the currents of radical thought. He devoured the works of Marx and Lenin, his mind a fertile ground for the seeds of revolution. He debated with socialists and communists, absorbing their theories and adapting them to the unique struggle of his own people. Every book read, every conversation had, was a step closer to his goal. He was no longer just a witness to oppression. He was becoming an architect of liberation, meticulously drafting the blueprint for his country's future. After 3 decades abroad, the traveler returned, not to the cities of his youth, but to the remote limestone caves of Pac Bo in northern Vietnam. The name itself meant headwater spring, and it was here that the stream of the Vietnamese Revolution would begin to flow. In this natural fortress, surrounded by jagged peaks and dense forests, Ho Chi Minh established his headquarters. The cave was his office, a stone slab his desk. By the flickering light of a simple lamp, he translated communist texts, wrote patriotic poems, and strategized with his most trusted comrades, including Vo Nguyen Giap. He was more than just a leader. He was a teacher, training his small band of followers, instilling in them the discipline and ideological fervor needed to build a guerrilla army from scratch. Here, in the heart of the wilderness, the Viet Minh was forged, a movement ready to challenge an empire. The culmination of years of clandestine struggle arrived on a sun-drenched day, September 2nd, 1945. The Japanese surrender had created a power vacuum, and Ho's forces seized the moment. In the center of Hanoi, at Ba Dinh Square, a sea of humanity had gathered, their faces a mixture of anticipation and disbelief. A lifetime of servitude was about to end. Onto a simple wooden podium stepped the slender, goateed figure they knew as Uncle Ho. His voice, calm yet resolute, carried across the massive crowd as he began to read the Declaration of Independence. He quoted the American Declaration, "All men are created equal," weaving a universal ideal into the specific fabric of Vietnam's fight. With every word, he dismantled a century of colonial legitimacy and declared the birth of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. The roar from the crowd was a tidal wave of emotion, the collective exhale of a people claiming their destiny. But the declaration was a beginning, not an end. The path to true freedom would be paved with blood and sacrifice. First came the French, determined to reclaim their prized colony, sparking a brutal 9-year war that ended with their stunning defeat at Dien Bien Phu. But peace was fleeting. Soon, the nation was divided, and the Americans entered the fray, escalating the conflict into a devastating war that ravaged the landscape and its people. Throughout these long, dark years, the Ho Chi Minh Trail became the nation's lifeline. A complex network of jungle paths and hidden roads, it was a testament to Vietnamese ingenuity and resilience, funneling soldiers and supplies from the north to the south, sustaining the fight against overwhelming odds. The war became a symbol of a small nation's unbreakable will to resist a global superpower, a struggle that captured the world's attention. Ho Chi Minh would not live to see the final victory, passing away in 1969. Yet his spirit endured. The image of his later years is one of serene wisdom, a frail figure with a piercing gaze who had become the embodiment of his nation's soul. He was the gentle Uncle Ho who had guided his people through their darkest hours. When Saigon fell in 1975, the country was finally united, the culmination of the dream he had set sail with so many decades before. His legacy is not just in the history books, it is written across the landscape of modern Vietnam. It lives in the bustling energy of Ho Chi Minh City, the quiet resilience of the countryside, and the proud, independent spirit of its people. The young man who stood on the deck of that ship had not only found a way to save his country, he had become its enduring father.